Hello, everyone, and welcome to Engage, a family gaming podcast. This is episode 96, and I am your host, Steven Dutzman, as always. This is the official video game and board game podcast for EngageFamilyGaming.com. EFG is a website where parents like myself and my co-hosts come together to give parents and families the information they need to get their family game on. This week, I am joined by an illustrious returning guest, Uncle Badger. How are you, sir?
I'm feeling extra fancy. How are you, sir?
I'm feeling well, and I'm presuming the reason you feel extra fancy is that you are specifically invited to talk about your jam. Can we call it your jam?
We can call it my jam. We definitely can. Yeah.
Because you're the Destiny guy.
I am the Destiny. I'm comfortable with that. Yeah, I am the Destiny guy.
If I might hype you up a little bit, you have played how many 100 hours of Destiny 1? It's measured in thousands now. 2,099 hours. That's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So suffice it to say you enjoy this game.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
so you enjoyed Destiny 1. So Destiny 2 is coming very soon. Mm-hmm. So your excitement level for Destiny 2, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the greatest, is...
It's about 1,000.
Is it over 9,000 is the question?
It's over 9. It is.
It's definitely over 9,000.
Power level is over 9,000.
The power level of your excitement is over 9,000. Totally reasonable. Anybody listening, that was a Dragon Ball Z joke. That's fine. We're giant nerds. That's what we do. So before we get for those listening, this is kind of a special podcast. It's not a special edition or anything like that. We're going to go through the regular stuff, but the main topic today is we're going to be talking about the Destiny 2 beta, which actually just completed, and both I played. I actually played quite a bit of it.
I did not know that.
And I'm presuming that Drew also played.
Oh, you know that I did.
So we're going to talk a little bit about it, because obviously this is not, there's a lot to say about the Destiny 2 beta. I'm way more excited about it than I was about Destiny 1, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But also, we're going to go around the horn a bit, because there's some other games that are around, a little Splatoon 2, and a little bit of Fortnite. So we're going to be doing some shooting things with various things. Before we do that, I would like to take a moment, before we begin, to thank everybody for listening this week. First off, I want to express my sincere hope that the games that you've played have been great. I can tell you the games that we have been playing have been great. We want to make our podcast more interactive. That's one of our goals. So please feel free to reach out to us on social media. That's Twitter, Facebook, etc. Or shoot us an email at efgpodcast@engagefamilygaming.com with any comments, questions, or topic suggestions. I mentioned topic suggestions a lot. We're in convention season. There's a fair amount of announcements. So right now, the news kind of comes to us. But there will come a time where we're going to need to dig deep into the mailbag, and we're hoping that you'll help us out. So let us know what you want us to talk about when there isn't something specific. So, as many of you know, we alternate between video games and board games. Now, we did take last week off, and so we actually skipped our board game podcast. There's a good reason for that. Gen Con is coming up. So I wanted to dedicate some time to that. And also, it's a timing thing, because we have something very special coming up for episode 100 that I can't even talk about. And I needed to delay the podcast numbers so that we could actually have episode 100 happen when the special things were happening. So we just didn't. We took a week off. Also, kids were at camp. You know how it is. Right. It's been a busy summer, Uncle Badger.
Sounds like it.
So, as you remember, because you've been on the show a few times, before we get into the topic at hand, we go around the horn. So we're going to talk about Destiny like crazy people after the break. But you had expressed an interest in talking about Fortnite, which is a game we have not played, but we certainly have consumed a lot of content about, because both of us are thinking about playing it really hard. So what are your thoughts on Fortnite?
Okay, so...
well, actually, first off, we should talk about what Fortnite is. Would you mind doing that for us?
Right, so Fortnite seems to be a highly stylized, zombie survival, sandbox survival game. I think it comes from Epic, and I'd have to double check to make sure that's that. But essentially what it is you have your own character, and you scavenge for, and there are different character classes. You scavenge for items, you craft weapons, you build fortified structures, and you fight off waves of monsters. But what's different than some of the other games that are somewhat similar to this is that it's highly co-optable. Like, so you play with a bunch of other players, and not only that, like some of the features distinguish it in ways that make it exciting. The character classes that have different abilities, different weapons, and such like that, and also building is a core mechanic in the game. So not only do you build up your fort, hence the name, but you can build up and modify your fort in the middle of a battle. So if you need to put in a door or put in a wall or something like that in the middle of a fight, you can do just that. And it happens, at least it seems in the demos, it happens instantaneously. It's different than the typical game that I'm interested in, but it looks really good. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you know what? I feel the same way. It is. So I guess the reason that Uncle and Badger and I have not jumped into this game yet, so we don't have firsthand experience, is it's kind of in a weird place in that it is in a early access kind of beta / demo mode where it is incomplete, but they are allowing players to play it. Right now, you can buy into early access into what will eventually, to our understanding, be a free-to-play game. Both Uncle Badger and I have some concerns about that particular business model. Right. I have no problem paying them. However, I think I would rather wait until they get the bugs out before I dive in, and especially since I can just wait to not have to pay for the game. So, with that said, I've watched a bunch of videos. I've actually interviewed some people. I was at my local GameStop today talking to some of the employees who have been playing, and the results and the feedback that I got from them is all positive. It's fun, it's engaging. They're not sure how long it will last as far as how engaging it will be, but they're certainly enjoying themselves. One of the things they pointed out is that the zombies they come from a storm, so they're like lightning creatures, basically. So when they die, they turn back into lightning, essentially. There's not a lot of blood, is what they're getting at. You know, this is not a gory game, even though you're fighting zombies. Okay. And that's something that I think is worth mentioning. Right. So keep your eye on it. If what we have said sounds interesting, there are tons of people streaming this game. There's tons of YouTube videos. So by all means, take a look at them. If you go on Twitch and just search for it, you will find plenty of people playing it, and you can decide if it's something that looks entertaining for your family. And you can, at that point, either download it or, do what you will. Once the game actually comes out proper, we will do what will become kind of standard issue for us, which is we will do a kind of first look where we'll do some gameplay capture and I will talk over it. So that is Fortnite. Have you been playing anything else, Uncle Badger?
Other than Fortnite and Destiny? Well, I haven't played Fortnite. I've been playing mostly Destiny.
The several thousand hours?
Yeah, so
confirmed.
I kind of got, if I'm being all the way honest, I kind of got hype about the Destiny 2 beta, and 2 weeks before it, I got so hype I started playing more Destiny, and then I played the Destiny 2 beta and Destiny. Even more in the way of a disclosure, I joined a clan, I swapped clans to a more active clan, so playing Destiny and playing the Destiny 2 beta has been a lot more. I mean, I put in more hours in the last 2 weeks than I have probably in the last 3 months, just playing purely. So it's been primarily Destiny. I'm a little overhyped, if I'm being honest with myself.
That's fine. That's fine. It is okay to like things. You were not around for the, hey, Steve, what have you been playing? Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. There was a number of weeks where the day before the podcast, I would have to find something else to play and play it for a handful of hours just to not feel guilty. But I put way more time into Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild than I probably should have, considering my job. But so no, don't worry about it. We won't judge you too harshly. With that said, I do want to talk a little bit about Splatoon 2.
Yeah, let's do that.
It is for the Switch. And one of the big questions that I was asked before the game came out is, hey, Steve, is this a full sequel, or should this have just been like a deluxe edition, or, just some DLC? And my answer, and I've kind of given a little bit more on the podcast before, but now I have played the game proper. I can confirm this is absolutely a worthy sequel to a game. I would have bought it anyway, even if they made it a deluxe edition, but they put a 2 on the box, and I am fine with it. My wife is actually upstairs playing it right now, so I'm a little jealous, but work must be done. So it functions exactly the same as the first game. So if you're familiar with Splatoon, you will continue to be familiar with Splatoon 2. They didn't really reinvent the wheel. There's just new gear, new ways to level up gear, some of which haven't even been updated yet. Online play is functional through their app, which is kind of bare bones right now. We're hoping that they update it a bit before they start charging us for it. But one of the interesting things I found out is you can actually buy equipment using the app that you can't buy in the regular stores in the game. So if you play Splatoon 2, even if you don't intend to play online, download the Nintendo Online app, use the Splatnet features because the gear is actually worth it. They took everything that was in the game and just turned it up a notch. There's more bright colors. The graphics have been tweaked just enough to make them look a little sharper. They added new weapons and new specials. My favorite of the new specials is a curler, where it's a curling stone where you throw it and it kind of bounces off the wall like a Roomba. But there's a special that lets you throw multiples of those, which is very intense when you power that up. So that's neat. There's also a hamster ball that just kind of pops around you, and you like can run up walls, and eventually it just explodes with your own ink. So you can just run into your opponents. That's going to be... I don't even have that yet. I've just had it used against me. I can't wait. So they really have kind of added in some really interesting new specials, and new, the weapons work ever so slightly differently. So it's definitely worth jumping in. If you own a Switch, you should probably buy this game, unless you absolutely hated the first one. And if you don't own a Switch yet, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe
I don't own a Switch.
If you don't own a Switch, I don't. You play Destiny.
I know.
You get a little bit of a pass because it would just be wasted money for you right now because you're infatuated with Destiny.
I'm dying to jump into the Switch. I've heard good things, but I whenever there's a new console, I typically wait a year or more until the console has kind of been tested for a number of reasons. I'm a little bit stingy with my money.
Listen. I get you. I didn't get a PS4 until last year.
Right.
I do not jump on these things. The Nintendo stuff. I mean, you know me, and everybody that listens knows me. I am a slave to Nintendo. So, of course, I was going to buy the Switch immediately. And it is worth it. The good news is the Switch and the games that are on it will be there for you when you are ready, Drew. That's the big deal. So,
yeah, I'm very excited.
They will wait. And it will be amazing. But for everybody else who isn't completely obsessed with Destiny, if you don't own a Switch yet, I don't know what you're talking about, because it's certainly worthwhile. They have. Did you hear about the sales numbers that got announced, Uncle Badger?
What was that?
So Nintendo held their quarterly earnings report, and they have confirmed that they have sold 4.7 million Switches.
Good Lord, man.
For sake of comparison, the PlayStation 4 sold 6 million in the same period of time, which was impressive. Interestingly enough, the PlayStation 4 launched in the fall, so it was during the holiday season, whereas the Switch launched in end of March, so it was... during the spring. So it's been selling quite well. Obviously, they haven't made enough because there's pretty much significant demand. So we don't really know what the ceiling was. They could have sold 15 million of them right now. No one really knows. Right. So that's interesting. Now, here's some attach rate numbers. Because people are really hungry for software on the Switch. 83% of the people who have bought a Switch have also bought Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Wow.
83% attach rate. Now, anyone who plays video games knows that is an unprecedented attach rate.
Yeah.
The only way to make it better is if it was a pack-in.
Right.
And almost 75% of the people who have bought it have bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is a port of a game that was released for the Wii U. So this game this thing is crazy. Arms, which is just a silly fighting game, I didn't think it had any legs, has already sold more than 1 million copies
It
in
looks
a
really
month.
good.
And if you lined up 100 analysts and said, "Hey, how many copies is Arms going to sell in its first month?" I don't think any of them would have said more than 1 million. So, yeah, the Switch is doing all right. And Splatoon, I think, is a more than reasonable addition to the Switch library, especially if you're looking for shooters, especially if you have kids looking for shooters and you don't want them to, I don't know, shoot people, because you can
Right.
just shoot ink everywhere. So, those are the games that we have been playing or wanting to talk about. I think we should probably take a break, and we'll come back, and it's Destiny time.
Yeah, let's do that.
So we'll be back in a minute, folks.
How's it going, everybody? This is Uncle Badger with Engaged Family Gaming. Wanted to talk with you today about an upcoming game that I and many others are excited about, Destiny 2. Um, for those of you who are already familiar with Destiny, Destiny 2 will need no introduction. But to give you just a brief overview, Destiny 2 is an online multiplayer first person shooting game. It requires you to be connected to the internet at all times. So, in that way, it's very similar to MMOs or massively multiplayer online games that some of you may be familiar with. But the developers describe it as a shared world shooter. They're trying to isolate it as its own kind of game. And it's sort of true. It's not exactly an MMO, and it's not exactly just a first person shooter. It's really, Destiny has really kind of carved out its own space, and it's really cool in that way. In terms of story, it's set in the future of Earth, where an extraterrestrial traveler has empowered human beings with extraordinary powers, which human beings then use to defend themselves and this new traveler against the darkness, aka evil aliens. Um, now, Destiny 1, while really deep with lore and myth and story, was kind of convoluted in the way that it conveyed that story. The developers have recognized this, even with the expansions and sort of a reworking of the story of Destiny 1 that was kind of a shortcoming of the original Destiny. And they've decided that in Destiny 2, there's going to be lots more story and it's going to be a lot more understandable. So, very much looking forward to that. Uh, Deep and expansive lore, better storytelling, and those sorts of things. Um, the game is rated T for teen for gunplay and violence and animated blood, though it's really alien blood. And to be kind of address that blood thing again, it's not as gory as other shooters that you maybe your kids maybe play, but it's something you should just be aware of. Also note that given the game's deep social aspects, and by that I mean end-game content like raids and other sort of cooperative things will require players to not only play together, but play together, sort of with voice, talking back and forth and cooperating in that way. Um, People playing the game may be exposed to unrated content from other players. Um, I've been playing many thousands of hours of Destiny 1, and it's rare that it happens, but again, just like the alien blood is something you should be aware of. Also, note that this is a factor in all social games, but it's something you should want to keep in mind. Destiny 2 comes out September 6th. Plenty of information is available online, especially on YouTube. Lots and lots and lots of gameplay demos, and IGN is doing a a bunch of first looks at different aspects of the game. So certainly, if you want to go and check that out on YouTube, it's available. That's about all I got to say in terms of just a quick overview. I am very, very excited. As I've said, I've put in many thousands of hours uh, into Destiny 1. I have been looking forward to the sequel for quite some time now, and I can't wait to dive right in. So again, Uncle Badger with Engage Family Gaming. Looking forward to Destiny 2.
All right, so thank you very much to Uncle Badger for that detailed discussion of the Destiny 2 beta. I have to admit, I'm looking forward to it just as much as, all right, maybe a little bit less than Uncle Badger because he's a little crazy, but I am looking forward to it. Well, that'll wrap it up for Engage, a family gaming podcast this week. We'd like to thank you for listening. We do hope that you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed recording it. We'll be back next week for more discussion about board games. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the games from Gen Con 50 that we are looking forward to. So in the meantime, it would be a great help to us if you would go on over to your iTunes or your Google Play and subscribe to us. And also leave us a rating. The number of reviews that we have increases our visibility, which increases our audience, which ultimately means that we get to do more cool things and cover more interesting stuff. So until next time, this is Steven and Uncle Badger and the man behind the curtain signing off. I do hope that you have a wonderful week. Also, don't forget to get your family game on. Bye now. And take two. All right. Well, thank you, Uncle Badger, for that detailed explanation of the Destiny 2 beta. I appreciate your thoughts on that, and I'm sure that our audience does as well. So that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Engage, a family gaming podcast. We do hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as we enjoyed recording it. Next week, we'll be back for more board game action. Specifically, we're going to be talking about Gen Con 50. How crazy is that? And we're going to be talking about our board games coming out of that show that we are most excited by. So, in the meantime, while you're waiting for that, it would be awesome if you would head on over to your podcast service of choice and leave us a review. And subscribe to us. The reason that that would be awesome is that more subscriber numbers and more reviews give us greater visibility to the greater gaming community, and more visibility means more downloads, and as our viewership climbs, more publishers and conventions, etc., will be interested in having us there, and so that means better content for all of you. So until next week, this is Steven and the man behind the curtain signing off, and I just want to remind you, don't forget to get your family game on. We will see you soon. Bye now.
Thank you for listening to Engage, a family gaming podcast.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Tune in next week.